Life Audio.
Welcome to But Jesus Drank Wine.
And other stories that kept us stuck. I'm Mead.
And I'm Christy.
In this podcast, we'll explore the stories that kept us, stuck, wanting to drink and not wanting to drink, all at the same time.
Join us as we show you that freedom from alcohol does not have to mean a life sentence of misery and missing out,
but actually means living an authentic life full of peace, joy, and purpose.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. We are so excited to be continuing this 6-part series going through the Love Life Sober 40-Day Fast book. This is part 4. So if you haven't tuned in to the last 3, go back and listen. You won't be disappointed. We are gearing up. The reason that we're doing this, we're so excited. We're gearing up to coach through the Love Life Sober 40-Day Fast in our beautiful community starting September 8th. Sign-ups are open. The links are in the show notes. But we just wanted to give you a quick 30,000-foot view overview of kind of some of the things that we coach through. You definitely have to get the book to get the full effect. But it's fun because I get to talk to you about these topics live on air, which I love so much.
All the fun things we love talking about, we just get to do it here. So fun.
Yeah. So we're going to go through, we're going to jump in on day 22. We're going to go through days 22 to 27 today. And day 22 is where I get really raw about how I was drinking to deal with the grief of losing my mom and how it became this really self-destructive coping mechanism. I'm curious, babe, what resonated kind of about this chapter for you?
So just in talking about grief and thinking about, I think this comes up so often, is when women get to that place of I'm starting to see that, yes, this is definitely, life is better this way. Freedom from alcohol is where I want to be. And they've maybe even experienced, so by day 22, they've probably experienced a lot of benefits and they're noticing those and they're feeling really good. And also at some point we start to feel, maybe especially if it's been something that we've used to cope with other kinds of grief, but there is this grief in who we were as a drinker or who we thought we were. And we've done, episodes on identity and all of that too. So you can go back and listen to those more in depth, but I love that you cover the grieving the old self. It's also a great place because it's that opportunity to discover, who am I really? I really thought for the longest time that, I didn't know. I should question this. I didn't know to be curious about this. I didn't know how I really didn't know what my identity was. But as soon as I was stepping confidently into that place of freedom from alcohol, I realized that, oh, but wait, who am I going to be if I'm not the life of the party? If I'm not the one that's, shutting down the party, staying late. So I realized I had all of these false identities about who I was wrapped up into that, which also fueled me being stuck in the drinking cycle for so long. That was kind of happening underneath, unconsciously or non-consciously to me. It was part of my fear was, well, then if I'm not the hostess with the mostest anymore, I'm not and that was fear talking, but I think it's real. And so just because we have maybe some grief about, there's some grief who I was or the way I was or whatever, what my identities I thought they were, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I want back, but acknowledging that there is maybe some grief in that for those seasons of time, if you will. And so I love that you point to that in this chapter in particular.
Yeah, I think that has resonated with so many of the women that we've talked to of, is it this party girl? That was definitely something that was one of my kind of identities. Another one was hostess, right? We literally used to call my house Hotel California because obviously I'm from California and living in London, but the whole line from the song of you can check out, but you can never leave, because I would literally not let people leave and I would keep pouring them drinks. And so it took a while to, am I able to ever host again? Am I able to ever have a party? And And it was a slow burn and a slow process of learning and figuring out what was comfortable for me. Was it comfortable for me to still be buying and pouring alcohol for everyone? In the beginning, I was like, well, of course I'm going to still pour alcohol for everybody and provide
Yeah.
it. I have done it took years to get me to the point where a couple weeks ago we had a barbecue and I was like, Chris is barbecuing. It was a girlfriend's birthday. I have 2 cakes. I've got all the yummy stuff, all the chips and the dips and the guacamole and everything. Please bring rosé if you want it. And we had alcohol-free Coronas for us. And so 5 years ago, 4 years ago, even 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been there. And so I guess to the point on grieving your old self and figuring out who your identity is just God's timing is so perfect, right? God's timing is so perfect, and he gently shows us who we are becoming and who he's asking us, I guess, to become. And so I know it sounds cheesy to say trust the process, but trust the process because he's got a plan.
Yeah. Yes. Always. And it's always better than ours. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's not hard. And I think sometimes women can almost panic in this place of where they're like, I am ready and I am seeing these benefits, but also it can feel really threatening. But am I losing who I was? And that's the great
Yeah.
place where God meets us and shows us actually, no, that's not who you are. That never was who you were and who you're supposed to be, and just look at what you're becoming. And when you're more aligned with how God created you to be, then everything is different.
Yeah.
It's holding the both and, right? There's grief in
Yes.
it and there's also, and okay, I'm open to
Yes.
growing and changing and seeing what else he has for me in that way.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up because it's so important because I think that we make the whole alcohol-free journey so much harder on ourselves. I know I did when I didn't see the both and of it all, right?
Yep.
So that means that you can use this in so many different ways, right? This is yes, this can be difficult and tricky, but it also can be a blessing.
Yep.
And and so just be open to those both ands in every facet of this, literally every facet. It goes back to the thing we say every 5 seconds about staying curious, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I heard a friend the other day say she was talking to her daughter who's a 15-year-old and she's learning to drive, and her daughter is getting ready to drive on the interstate and they're going on this trip, and and then so the daughter said, "Oh, this is going to be scary." And then she's, "Remember what we learned, what we heard? It's not hard, it's new.
No.
It's not hard,
Yeah.
it's new." And so even in this way, the freedom from alcohol journey as a whole, there are parts that are hard, but it's mostly because it's new and different. And so whether that is really freedom from alcohol or anything else, we can make room for, yes, it's new and different. So that's going to bring an element that is more challenging. And also there are going to be parts of it that are maybe, okay, I don't know what to do here. And our temptation is to resist because it is hard, or, oh, I've been experiencing all of these great benefits, but wait, what about this? It's all in bringing it, not ignoring any of it, which was the way I did things for so long. Is, oh, this is uncomfortable, I'm just going to ignore that, put it over there. So anyway.
Yeah. So good. So good. So every single chapter, in case we haven't said it yet, ends with a tiny new action. And these are normally journaling prompts. But this one, if you have ever used alcohol for any sort of coping mechanism, for grief or loss or disappointment, then there's some really good prompts here for you on page 125.
Love
Day
it.
23. Oh, I love this day. This is the day when I talk about when we had rats. I would love to just know how many times you have coached a woman who says how much they love the taste of alcohol. And they can't
Yes.
imagine, and they cannot imagine not loving the taste of alcohol. How many
So
times? A
a,
million?
a bajillion. And that was me too. I could
Yeah.
not imagine that I could ever be repulsed by this, even just the smell of alcohol now. That's what's so crazy. And when you learn the science of why it
Mhm.
literally is impossible to enjoy the taste, and how we end up believing that we enjoy the taste, it is pretty fascinating. But to return to a place now where was I when I've been on airplanes, that's one place where I can smell. I never would have smelled alcohol. I never would have noticed it before, but I can smell it. So
Mhm.
clearly now, first of all, my senses are more open and peaked and sensitive because I don't drink alcohol, but it is something where I'm like, wow, it burns my nose now. And I
Yeah.
never would have imagined. I haven't tasted it since 6, 7 years, but um, yeah, I never thought I would get to that place where I'm like, just, I can't even stand the smell of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. I was actually, Carter and I were walking the dog this morning, and he was like, Mama, why do people drink alcohol if it doesn't taste good?
Mm,
And I don't know
hmm.
where it came from. And I and I was like, well, first of all, there's the whole peer pressure thing, and it either tastes awful, but you feel so pressured to keep
Yeah.
drinking it. And I go into all of this in this chapter. But the other thing is, or if you have something at that age, it's normally just bombed with sugar, right? And
Yeah.
so it's you can't taste the alcohol, so you end up getting just so horrible. Like, I'm just thinking of Smirnoff Ice, and it's making me want to gag,
Mhm.
bringing me back to the high school days.
Jack
But
Daniels
she's like,
down home punch.
oh, I don't even know what that is. But and then
So
there were
gross.
those Mike's Hard lemonades. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, so gross. It's happened to me twice though, where I've ordered a mocktail and it's been the real thing, and it has burned my
Hmm.
esophagus. Felt the burn. Anyways, our whole point of this is to say that if you don't believe that your taste can change, stay 100% open, because obviously, as you can hear, as we're speaking, it's happened to us. We condition ourselves. We condition ourselves to enjoy the
Yeah.
taste, and you may be me who takes it so far that you have a collecting cellar of alcohol or of wine, and you get really into the wine. And I was the full wine snob situation. Do you know what I found out this week? We still
Mhm.
have bottles in this bloody cellar situation that Chris started, and he's been trying to sell it. He's been selling it off, but they have to wait to auction it. But I saw this email. We still own all this. What? Anyways,
What?
so all that
It's
to say, we got really into it. We were collecting it. We were collectors. We were going to have cellars for the kids. And this is a big thing that British people do, give it to them on their 18th birthday, because that's when you can drink here. I thought I was going to really, really miss the taste of wine. And the
I
longer
know.
that I didn't drink it, the less I missed it. And this is, by the way, and you guys, I'm really sorry to burst your bubble for the gals that are going around trying all the non alcoholic wines. They're not good. They're not good unless they're sparkling. I'm just saying, unless they're really, really cold and they're fizzy, I have not found a good mock red or mock white, just straight wine. Have you?
No, I was gonna say no. I think it's the fizzy, the groovy dry secco is my go-to, but the soapy ones too. I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they're
that they
all
have those
fizzy.
here.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think they're all fizzy. We'll have to try some in Colorado, but no, you're right. I mean, you're right. But I wasn't a red wine drinker. It was a rosé, spark bubbles, champagne, white wine drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I actually had a client that I was coaching several years ago who was obsessed with champagne, and she swore up and down she would never lose the taste for it. And she was at a Valentine's Day dinner with her husband, and they brought her favorite brand. And she said she had taken a few months off, and she was like, did not taste the same. And then she felt how it
Yeah.
made her feel. And she was like, you were right. And I'm like, it's not me. It's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think how we do condition our taste for it and how it does change, which means if it changes, so from my Jack Daniels down home punch days way back as a teen to being able to drink other things that don't taste as fruity, if it changes one way, the good news is it can change back. And I do think that's something that's helpful. And that's for me, I said the smell. Now the smell of it, I wouldn't even just put it to my lips to try and taste it because I can smell it from far away and it just repulses me. But I was the girl that never, ever would have turned down a glass of my favorite, well, let's be honest, any wine, not just my favorites, okay? But like,
Yeah.
that looks so delicious. I can't wait to taste it. Tastes so
Yeah.
good when it hits the lips. But
Yeah.
It's because we were conditioned that way by the, yeah, repetitive youth. I was just remembering in college because I was like, keg beer. Ugh, no, thank you.
No.
I used to order Tom Collins when I was out. Like, do you know what a Tom
Mm-hmm.
Collins? Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's,
Chris used to always order those.
yeah, that was my go to. And oh, even that, ugh, gross. I don't even like the sweet things, but I had to try and find something to make it palatable. That's the thing
Yeah.
about alcohol. You
Yeah.
have to, and by the way, big alcohol knows this. I remember
Yeah.
hearing someone who used to work for an ad agency being in the boardroom in the mid 90s when they were talking about how do we want our next segment. We're targeting teens. How do we get them to drink alcohol? Well, you have to make it taste really good. And that was the invention of wine coolers. So Arbor Mist, that was another one. Arbor Mist, gross.
Oh, I never got that one. Yeah,
Wine cooler.
and teens, and also we had our best friend Sam on the pod who was talking about
Yeah.
niching down to the moms and go after the one, literally go after the women in the minivans was something
Yeah.
that was said. Anyways,
Yeah. From teens, then to the mom segment, right? Yeah. And then the dads with the bourbon and all of that. Make no mistake. It is very
yeah,
intentionally being crafted to sell more product. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We have a great thing we do in the community too that we were just talking about on our leadership team meeting, where our best friend Sam does a mocktail of the week every single week. And
Yeah.
she goes out and she tries them and she posts them and she gives how to make them and honest reviews. And so if you're looking for substitutes, we've got a backlog for you in the community.
Yeah, I love her posts. I'm not a mocktail girl per se, unless I'm out, but every post she does, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to try that. Yeah, makes me thirsty and they look so delish. And then they are. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, just a little, any beverage, if you are doing the mocktail thing as you're going through this fast, any beverage with a jalapeno, add a
Yes.
jalapeno for a garnish. Like
Yes.
game changer. The lime and the jalapeno together. Oh, so good. Throw it in whatever. Telling you. Put some fresh jalapeno,
Yes.
game changer.
Yes. Totally agree. Totally agree. Okay. Day 24 is all about the joy in leading by example. And I think that we have the privilege of talking to a lot of women for which breaking free from alcohol, they are the first in their family. They are the first in generations, right? We hear all
Mm-hmm.
the time, my grandfather and my father or mother, we know the genetics is only between 40 and 60% of the equation, but for the women that feel they are going first, this chapter is for you.
Yeah.
And again, whether that's in your marriage, friend group, I was the very first one in my friend group. And
Same.
I never in a million gajillion years would have thought that people would have followed me. And not a lot did, but a couple did. A
Yeah.
couple did.
Same.
And those relationships are so special to me because they have just deepened, because that's what happens when you have connections without alcohol. They're real. But just to encourage you gals, if you're the first mover, then that's so amazing. What a great opportunity and invitation from God to be the first mover, to have the ripple effect in your own family or your friend group or towards your down the line to your kids. So that's what this chapter 24 is all about, day 24.
Well, and I think too, we don't totally ever really, I've coached women who are, but I'm the only one. I'm the only one. And it feels that in their circles and their families and all of those spaces that might feel really true. But what I have loved seeing personally and just with everyone I've been able to work with is there are other people who are feeling this. Somebody's got to go first. Somebody
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
first. And that's where it's been the great privilege and honor of just hearing somebody come and say, hey, I was watching what you were doing. And now I'm free from alcohol and it is amazing. I've definitely had that happen a handful of times that I had no idea. Yeah, somebody's got to go first. So if you're
Yeah.
struggling with this, I guarantee you somebody else in your circle, in your immediate or your larger community is also struggling with it.
Mhm.
So why not be the one to go first? Make it easier for
Yeah.
other people. Someone's got to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And a special shout out to the gals that are being the first mover in your marriage, because I think
Yeah.
as wives, we go first. I haven't talked to a lot of people that where the husbands are the first movers. It's generally us, but that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. And I know that I said this 3,000 gajillion million times, but trust God's timing because
Yep.
even if it is slow, even if it is slow, he and your children and people in your family are watching you and they are noticing. And even if they're not happy about it in the beginning, if God has asked you to do this, it is for a reason. That beautiful, beautiful masterclass from Pastor David, all
Yes.
about marriage and seeing your husband, how God sees him. And it was so impactful. And that is a masterclass that is recorded under our masterclass section in the community. So if you're feeling these words are tugging at your heart, we see you, we know how you're feeling 100%, and we have more for you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
So good, so true. Day 25, Jesus and wine. How the podcast was born. Okay, let's do a little behind the scenes of this chapter for a second.
Yeah.
This chapter, you guys, before it was edited down, was so much longer because I had so much more to say about this because it really is wild how different wine was in biblical times than it
Mhm.
is today. And my editors, you're going too far in the weeds. This could be its own book. So I had to scale it back. But this, and we've done podcast episodes on this. We should link that too. But this is all about, did Jesus actually drink wine? And using that justification that is the namesake of this podcast, is that the reason that you're giving yourself as a justification to drink? It's because Jesus drank. And we go into this in this chapter and in so many podcast episodes that we've done.
I think I learned this after I found freedom from alcohol, but I think what you talk about too is just how different wine was then, how important that truth was for me when I was using as an excuse. And really, it was just a way to soothe the discomfort that I felt that I was showing up to, church at times hungover from the night before. And it was a way to quiet the noise in my head that was, this isn't right. Well, then Jesus drank wine, so it's fine. And then and there is a part of that is that justification, right? For what I knew was not in a good, that had become an idol, if you will. But there's the other part of that where it's, if you really know, and your book does touch on it, and I would love for them to have access to the book version of what you wanted to say about it, because it is true that wine was so different for so many reasons back then than what we have available to us now. And so using that as an argument for why it's okay, it's you're comparing apples and oranges, truly. Wine
Yeah.
back then and wine today is totally different. So, and
Yeah.
you can't leave out the rest of the Bible that talks about being of sober mind and things like that. You can't just point to one thing, obviously, in the Bible and use that as justification, proof, facts, right? Truth. Yeah.
Yeah. The alcohol by volume, so the actual ethanol content was so much lower. I was in the weeds about something in a concordance, how they used to, at Passovers and these meals that we read about in the Bible, they cut the wine with water. It was half water or even more. As you so beautifully put, you're comparing apples to oranges. And this isn't in here, but I just posted this in the community about, because we just went through Ecclesiastes because we're doing the Bible recap in the community, and how Solomon basically makes this reference
Oh, yeah.
of I've tried to be drunk and I've tried to moderate. And he obviously doesn't use the word moderate, but and I don't have it in front of me right now, but he basically says he tries it both ways, to kind of drink a little bit and enjoy the party, or just to really overindulge, and neither of them brought him happiness. And I was just geeking out over that because I was, oh look, even Solomon, the wisest man in the Old Testament, couldn't moderate. So
Yeah, I think we might have even covered that too on the Pastor David episode with
yeah, I think we did.
moderation. So more on that there. But yeah, because I remember saying this too. I'm someone that I have to find out for myself. Apparently, I have to do it the hard way and learn the hard way. And I've tried it both ways too. And
Yeah.
not wise, Solomon, not that wise, but I can relate.
Yeah. Imagine stepping into a vibrant, welcoming community where faith, friendship, and freedom from alcohol come together. That's exactly what you'll find inside the But Jesus Drank Wine community.
Each week, our members gather for connection calls, a time to share honestly, grow spiritually, and support one another in a warm, grace-filled space.
And for women who are already free from alcohol, we offer a monthly connection call just for you, a space to stay grounded in your faith, share your victories, and continue growing in freedom.
With a loving leadership team, a dedicated prayer request board, and connection opportunities across every time zone, you never have to walk this journey alone.
We also offer masterclasses with expert guests, optional book and Bible studies, and so much more to help you grow in your faith and strengthen your sobriety.
For those ready to go even deeper, our small group coaching space, The Missing Piece, offers weekly recorded coaching calls and personalized support for women committed to breaking free from alcohol.
Whether you're sober curious or years alcohol free, if you love Jesus or want to fall in love with him again, you'll feel seen, supported, and strengthened here.
Ready to join the sisterhood? Head over to butjesusdrinkwine.com/community or click the link in the show notes to learn more. We can't wait to meet you.
Day 26 is all about the science of joy. This is all about how alcohol hijacks our dopamine. It also explains why, and this is one of those things that made me really sad when I found out that my dopamine had been hijacked, because I realized that I literally couldn't feel joy and I didn't want to do anything unless wine was involved, because that was going to be the thing to make that thing fun or joyful. And so this chapter really dives in, and this is not to this is not to scare you or shame you, but it's to encourage you that the reason that this happens is because of the way that neurochemically how alcohol affects our brains.
Yeah. It's a great chapter. I didn't realize that the things that I normally would find pleasure in or enjoyable, I didn't realize that slippery slope, and it was slow, and it was until being free from alcohol and realizing that I had lost enjoyment or pleasure in things that used to bring me great joy, maybe. And it is such a slippery slope. Yeah. But then when that is returned, that's why I geek out, y'all, on sunsets and flowers now, because I'm paying attention to those things. Those things are truly enjoyable versus when my dopamine is being hijacked and dynorphin is being released as a result, and all the things that throw off our ability to find enjoyment and pleasure in things. Let's talk about the big A word.
Okay. Let's talk about the big A word. I mean, I think that alcohol and anxiety.
We mean anxiety, not alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, how many gals have we heard, and us included, right?
Yep.
That drink because they are anxious and they think that this is, I thought it was a solution. I thought it was a solution. I tell the story in here about, I took the California bar exam during an earthquake, you guys, which is a whole story in and of itself. But the way that I thought I was going to ease the anxiety when I got done with day one and survived somehow is I went up to my hotel room and I literally drank half a bottle of red wine, because
obviously
it was like shaking. And think about what I did to my cortisol and my adrenaline. And I had to go in for 2 more freaking days. It's just, it's ingrained in us. There's so much data in our subconscious that says that alcohol helps de-stress us. And it's just, when you learn the science of this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it absolutely does not. As we know, the science says it temporarily numbs it, and then it comes back and bites you in the behind even worse, throwing gasoline on a fire. I had no idea, but I also wasn't, I don't know, somehow I ended up with a Jersey accent all of a sudden, which is fine. We love you New Jersey gals too. But I had no idea. I wasn't even asking the question, if alcohol is really helping with my anxiety, then why? Because my alcohol usage was increasing, then why is my anxiety not decreasing? If it truly does help with anxiety, then in theory, my anxiety should be getting less because I'm drinking it more. Okay. So I should not be anxious at all.
Yeah. I think you should say that
I
again because I think that's so important. Say it again.
Okay. So I wasn't stopping to question. I had the story, I had the belief that alcohol was a solution for anxiety, that it was helping my anxiety. It was taking the edge off of all of the anxious places. But I never stopped to question, is it really? Because if I had, I would have seen that in theory, if my alcohol use is increasing and and if it's really helping with my anxiety, then my anxiety would be decreasing. But
Hmm.
instead, I saw I can look back and see that as my anxiety was increasing,
Hmm.
my alcohol usage was increasing and vice versa. And
Yeah.
so it stands to reason that it does not help with anxiety. It actually makes it worse. It's throwing
Hmm.
gasoline on a fire. And we have all the science, you have the science written in the book too of why that happens, but it increases your stress hormones. It cortisol and adrenaline are not good for us in around the clock, right? And alcohol perpetuates our anxiety. It
Yeah.
actually increases our anxiety because it's increasing the amount of time that we're spending in being flooded with stress hormones. And so it starts this vicious loop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget. I was sitting in the River Cafe in London at a girlfriend's birthday luncheon. And I can tell the story because these girls are obviously not listening to this podcast. And everyone was drinking wine and they were talking about this magical pink sea salt that they found somewhere. I don't even know where, but it apparently had some sort of benefits towards cortisol. And so they were literally on their phones spending hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars to ship
Gazillion.
this special salt to lower their
Yes.
cortisol while drinking literally the wine well over and over and over again. And
Yes.
and it's wild. And the other thing too that I talk about is it stays in your system longer than we ever
Yes.
thought, right? So
Hmm.
even this is why the moderation game is such a lie because even if you have
Yep.
one or two glasses of wine at book club on a Tuesday night and you're like, that's all I am having, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday is more stressful because that's how long your cortisol and adrenaline stays raised. And so I'll also never forget William Porter coming on the
Yes.
podcast and explaining this. We should link that episode too. And he talks about this so beautifully, but how he said you're basically using wine as a life raft. And then once you actually get rid of the life raft, talking about as an anxiety coping mechanism, you realize you're actually standing in 2 feet of water. And how that is so true because the things that I thought were really, really stressful when I was drinking were so not stressful. I would get
Yes.
really, really stressed out about things that were not stressful. And one of my favorite pages actually that I just realized from the book is page 150 because I got to give some actual direct quotes from gals who will tell
Hmm.
you what happened to their anxiety when they stopped drinking. So go read those because you don't have to listen to me all the time. You can listen to other people. And yeah, just the beautiful stories of women that we've heard getting to go off their anxiety medication because they stopped drinking. And don't do that without a doctor. We are not medical doctors, but we've heard it happen.
We're not even just doctors. We're not medical doctors and we're just
We're
not
not
doctors
any
either.
sort of
We're not.
doctors, but we're just saying that we've seen it.
Yeah. Yes. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, gals, so much for tuning in and listening. We'll be back next week with week 5,
Do
right?
your Tinas. Do your Tinas. That is an
It's next
order.
week. Next week. We'll come back next week for week 5. Join us September 8th as we kick off for the 40-day fast. We can't wait to meet you. There's already so many incredible women in the community waiting to welcome you. And we love you, and we'll see you next Monday. Before we go, if you're craving real connection and want to talk more about what we've shared today, come join us in the BJDW community. It's where these conversations continue, and we'd love to welcome you in.
You can find all of our podcast episodes at butjesusdrankwine.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at butjesusdrankwine.
Take a screenshot of this episode and share it with a friend or two.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love what we're doing, we'd be so grateful if you left a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Your reviews help more women who feel stuck and alone in the overdrinking cycle find the hope and encouragement they've been praying for.
Finally, we'd love to shout out the incredible team at Life Audio for their partnership with us at the But Jesus Drank Wine podcast. We invite you, dear listener, to visit lifeaudio.com, where you will find dozens of other faith-centered podcasts in the Life Audio network. Shows about prayer, Bible study, Christian parenting, and more.
Thanks, friend. We appreciate you so much, and we'll see you next week.